Hello, folks. The old hunter here. I'm going to tell a story about a man that I knew. It's not a very good story. It's sad. I usually like to put stuff on the camera that's funny and stuff like that, but this is something that needs to be told. I met this man about 14 years ago. Me and my son was cutting down smoke trees on some of my property for firewood. I cut one and it fell the wrong way and landed in the power lines. I had no idea how in the world I was ever going to get that off them power lines. Well, I remember seeing that family when they moved in. I remember seeing an orange Kubota tractor in his backyard. I said, I wonder if I'll go over there. He'd come over and try to get off with his tractor. So I went over there. He introduced himself. I told him what I had going on. He said, I'll be right over there. The time I got back home, he was there with his tractor, the strap and everything. It didn't just take him but just a few minutes. He had to shear off the power lines. And he looked, he says, I just moved in over there. And he says, anytime you need a hand with anything, just give me a holler. Folks, that's the type of man he was. He was one of the most generous, kindest, loving, helping people any way he could. Strangers, didn't matter if they're strangers, he still helped them. And he's going to be very, very missed. Okay. This man's front name is, and my friend, Frankie Wiggins. About 8 weeks ago, he come down with the virus. He was at home about 2 weeks and was having a hard time breathing. They took him over to the hospital in Natchez. Well, he wasn't over there but a day or so. They had to put him in intensive care. One of a day or two after that, they done put him on a ventilator. And he was over there for 6 weeks, fighting the hardest battle he's ever fought in his life. They wound up having to put him on dialysis too, but they had to start giving him blood. One of his lungs shut down. They couldn't even get it to pump back up. And Frankie fought to the bitter end, but God had plans for him and he took him home. And I hate to say it was probably the best thing happened because he'd have probably been so medically messed up he couldn't have done nothing if he didn't come out and get to go home. He'd have had a bad heart, bad lungs, bad kidneys, everything. And Frankie was not the type that could have laid in bed all day, believe me. He was always up doing something or helping somebody. Well, I talked to him probably about 3 or 4 months ago. I told him, I said, Frankie, you ain't got your shots yet? No, man. Matter of fact, he'd come to the house. He loved coming over here. My little poodle would jump on his lap and would run up and around his head and pull his hair and pull his beard. She'd do that 10 or 12 times. He just loved it. They just laugh. And I said, have you ain't got your shots? He said, no. He said, look, they ain't nothing. It's just like a little case of flu or something. Folks, let me tell you something. Frankie was 61 years old and much of a man. Healthy as an ox. Didn't know what a hard day's work was. He plowed right on through it. That doggone virus hit him and knocked him flat on his back. And then it took his life. A very strong man that took his life. Folks, I don't want to get on anybody's case or anything, but when you got a virus like we got now, and it attacks a person like Frankie Wiggins, a big, strong man, and takes his life, you need to open your eyes and look. If you don't care about yourself, care about your fellow man. Get the shots to protect them. I would hate though that I didn't get the shots, and I infected a dozen people or so, and some of them died with the virus. That would be on my conscience for the rest of my life. So I'm begging people, that's the only way we're ever going to get this under control, is to take the darn shots. They're not going to hurt you. I know a bunch of stuff on the darn computer, all them shots, the key and all that. I said, no. That's some idiots putting stuff on Facebook, don't even know what they're talking about. Believe your scientists and believe your doctors. They're the ones that know what's going on. Some hillbilly ain't got the foggiest idea what's going on. But you might think, oh, yeah, I'll get the shot. It's going to kill me. And one guy told me, well, they only give people shots like that so they can track them. I said, do you actually think the government is going to spend trillions of dollars, put some kind of little tracking device So they put it in your arm, they can track you anywhere you go. I said, folks, I can understand with all high-class jewel thieves, terrorists, or something like that. Yeah. But the average person does not. They're not going to do that to the average person. The fee would be, you couldn't even imagine what the fee would be. Besides, probably 75% of the people has a smartphone. They know exactly where you at when you got that smartphone. They can plug in that and tell you exactly where you at. So you're not hiding from them. But I don't think then this virus should be able to keep track on the people. I sure don't. Well, here's my dear friend, and I'm going to miss him terrible. I mean terrible. And his wife and family, they're going to miss him every minute of every day. And it's going to take time and God's love to make the hurting quit in their hearts. Now, he had a little grandbaby, the first grandbaby he had about 2 years ago. I'm going to tell you what. I don't think he could hardly wait till he got home every day. He had that grandbaby in his arms. Every time I went over to see him, he had that grandbaby in his arms. You could just see the love generating out of him. He was so proud to be a grandpa, it was unreal. And I know that little grandbaby loved him. And it's just a sad situation that could have been avoided. Well, I'm going to tell you something else. They've set up a fund, Frankie's Family has, to try to help with some of the expenses of medical and funeral and everything. This is going to be 6 weeks in intensive care. I don't even want to imagine what it was going to cost. So, if anybody's interested, go online. People who'd like to help out, go to fundme.com. Search for Frankie Wiggins' name, and you'll be able to get all the information you need to make a donation or whatever you would like to do. And I want to thank everybody. I'm going to end this thing with a slogan I say all the time, and I'm going to say it again. Life is short, but death is forever. Bye, Frankie.
And everybody, I'm going to put a link down in the description. There'll be a direct link to the GoFundMe. If you can help out, please do. If you can't, we understand. Thank you so much.